welcome to my Impact Review, ladies and gentlemen. If I begin to cough or seem to be really incoherent, I've been sick for the last couple of days due to the fact that the weather changing so drastically in New York. From negative 23 to now 50 degrees outside in my apartment right now. So the change has been too much for me, so I've been quite sick. So I'm going to see if I can make this as short as possible. Excuse me. Told you I'm sick. What do we have here in this review? We have Dixie being pushed very hard as a heel. This entire Impact was about the Dixie heel push. As much as it is about what's going to go down with EC3, as much as going with Angle and Rude, Gunner and Storm, and particularly AJ and Magnus. This was almost all about the Dixie push. Now that's a double-edged sword. We needed a strong heel in the business, particularly for TNA. A female heel is not something that has been seen. But TNA's never actually had one. Not to the extent that they're showing right now. This is new uncharted waters for TNA and for Dixie Carter. She was so sloppy as a heel. But she hasn't done too badly, particularly when she had the AJ segment. Before Magnus came out, when she talked, people really didn't like her. They actually were disgusted. And I wish to say that this crowd, particularly in Orlando, Florida, just this crowd, was more lively than most of the crowds I've ever seen in Orlando. So I'm actually quite happy. That made the show a lot more palatable this time around. But I'll say this. Seeing that she was determined to say that this is my company and I'm going to do whatever I want. Can't sound like a woman to be sick like this, but you get my point, ladies and gentlemen. Dixie made it very clear that this is my company. I own everybody and I'm going to break them if I want. So the match was going to be a no DQ match between her, well, not her, between him and AJ Styles, in which I'm talking about Magnus. Oh, I am being incoherent. I'm so sorry. The Magnus and AJ segments after Dixie spoke. Magnus sounded very good. AJ was really restricted. In other words, I think they wanted to get more out of Magnus than anything else. So that made me feel like when the match came along, it was going to be very strong for Magnus. So let's get to that match. I could do it in the ending, but I want to do it now. AJ versus Magnus. No DQ. Now we had everyone and their mom coming out. Bad Influence, Robert Roode, bromance with DJ Ion, I Lost Track, Rockstar Spud, and even EC3 coming out. They all did everything they could to bury AJ Styles. Yes, Sting came out. But at first, and I'm going to be honest here, at first when I saw this, I felt that it was like putting 50 pounds into a 2-pound bag. It was too much. But when I started really getting into the middle of this match, it started to really grow a little bit on me. By the time it was near the end, when the crowd really was starting to cheer for it, and there might have been a little bit of canned heat, but I really believe there was genuine crowd pop for this match and for AJ. That made this so well done that when Magnus won by Robert Roode doing his special move on him 3 times, I felt that this was the best thing that TNA could have done for themselves, and not WWE. In this case, it was the wisest thing to do. And I was alright with seeing Magnus win. Magnus has never been pushed as strong as he has been now, and I'm very proud of that. And I have some more thoughts on Magnus later, but I'm going to move on to the first match of the night. And that was, Park with Young versus Bromance. Now, I said earlier that Dixie said, this is my show. This is the rap of Dixie. She didn't say it like that, but I'm saying it. Dixie, talking to Bromance and several other people throughout the night, really made it so that they understood, you will do as I said. So while Bromance was dealing with Park and Young, before that, we get Gail Kim and later Tappa, which I was happy to see Tappa being put in this position. Beating the snot out of ODB. And that causes Eric Young to leave Joseph Park. And not only did Bromance win, which I still don't know why they're still there, they destroyed Joseph Park. Now here's the problem with Joseph Park. He should have been turned into Abyss more than 3 months ago. I say at least 3 months. They should have already turned him totally Abyss, but they haven't done it. Now I really believe that originally they were going to do this by Genesis, but because of this being taped early before they went to the UK, they put that on the back burner. I really believe by the time they come back to the UK, that's when they're going to start turning Abyss. Well, Joseph Park into Abyss. Now, I don't agree with that. It would have been better to do it 3 or 4 months ago. But since they're doing it now, by the time they finally do it, the crowd are not going to be 100% interested in it. It might be about 80%. That's just my feeling about it. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Gunner and Storm. You guys tell me below how you feel about this, because this is where I get a little confused. We expected Storm to turn heel, or we expected Gunner to turn heel. This rivalry needed one of them to turn heel, and the way it's been going down is neither one is turning heel. Neither one of them is a betweener. They're still both basically faces, angry at one another for what had happened. Now, hearing that the next match they're going to have is for that Feast or Fire briefcase, and they want to do a repeat of the Feast or Fire briefcase by hanging it over the ring on a pole. Now, do I agree with that? It depends on how far they're willing to go with Storm and Gunner. I mean, they're still faces. It's not enough. And then when they got laid out during the show by Dixie Carter's thugs, as you're going to say it, it really makes it even more confusing. That's two faces that got their asses handed to them because they expected them, Dixie expected them to help AJ. You really needed one of those guys not to get laid out, TNA. You did, and you didn't do that. It would have been better for Gunner to get laid out because you really need Storm to turn heel. You really need it. So that's my feeling about that. I really want to know below what you guys think. Now, when it came to the segments with Dixie, when it came to Sting, when it came to Joe, when it came to Robert Roode, I gotta say this. Like I said earlier, I really believe they're pushing her very hard. And those segments really help to try and make her better as a heel. Because she's been like a cutesy little heel. Now she's becoming a really evil bitch. And that's what we really need. She needs to have an evil bitch Stephanie McMahon attitude. So I'm really hoping that they'll bring more out of her in this. Because those segments behind the scenes were not that bad. Now, EC3 versus Joe. Very good idea to do. Before Genesis, you need a tuna match for EC3 to deal with Joe. Now, of course, Joe lost because of help with Rockstar Spud. And I'm so happy the way they're using him because he has become so entertaining. This is how he's going to get over working in the back. So when he starts working in X Division officially, he will be well over and well loved by the crowd, either as a heel or a face. It doesn't make a difference. Now we know EC3 won. And throughout the night we saw EC3 helping out, particularly in the last match with AJ Magnus. But when you see this, EC3 has a very good possibility. If Sting puts him over properly, we will see a reject from the WWE rise to being a TNA main wrestling star. And I hope that happens. Now I'll talk about Sting. Sting versus Robert Roode in the steel cage. It wasn't a bad match. But since we've now had 2 matches that are in the steel cage, and I will talk about Bad Influence and Angle in a minute. But when you see this, it might have been overdone. 1 steel cage match was enough for that night. Having 2, even though it does show more of a sinister side of Dixie Carter, that she wants people to suffer and that they must understand this is my company, bitches. I'm just saying it like that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But you understand my meaning about it. It wasn't a bad match. But since the show is, and I keep saying this about these theme impacts for pay-per-view impacts, they needed to do an overrun of 20 or 30 minutes. Because when you do it that close together, it takes away the moment for you to really absorb it. The crowd weren't totally bad about it. But I really feel that they should have put an extra 30 minutes on Spike. They really need to talk to those executives at Spike and allow them once in a while to do an extra 30 minutes. Because we're not getting anywhere 100% with these matches. They're either too short or they're too close together. So Sting loses. It makes Angle and Rude more interesting when it comes to Genesis, when Angle's putting his Hall of Fame possibility on the line. Sorry, I told you I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling drowsy. Now, Angle versus Bad Influence. I must say this. I enjoyed Rude's promo segment before the match with Bad Influence. It was very well done. The crowd was into Rude. I almost expected him to actually go in there, but then I would think if they did that, that would be very stupid. And I'm glad it didn't happen. That match with Bad Influence was very lopsided because you knew that Angle had to win. He had to. I didn't expect Angle to lose. So he won and handed a lose to Bad Influence. But here's the question. What now happens with Angle? He was with a group of people taking pictures. Al Snow drives up and says, get in the car, get your clothes, there's an emergency. Now, of course, that's got to be Dixie. But how are they going to play it now? I just don't know. Now, let's see. The Anderson and Bully Ray segment. This confuses me. Bully Ray should have been let go for a while. In other words, put him away, let him take a vacation for 2 or 3 months, and then come back and do this super sinister segment. It would have had more impact, and this is just my perception of it. I am not fond of it being done right now so soon, but it does intrigue me. I'm not fond of seeing Anderson and Bully Ray. I told you I'm drowsy. I'm not fond of seeing them do anything. I want to see these two separate. But I have to admit, seeing they going back to where the burial of Aces and Eights is, and seeing how Bully Ray has been talking, they are pushing him as hard as they can to turn him as dark as possible. How dark are they willing to go? Now, I know more than a few people are going to say, I don't really care how dark he goes. I don't want to see this. Get rid of this. I understand it. But understand this. The 2 years we had Aces and Eights, that was because of Bischoff and it was because of Hulk Hogan. That was the main reason for it. They got rid of it, but you got to do something. You got to do something with these guys. Now, I'm not fond of seeing it like this, but you got to admit this. Seeing this makes you question. We have seen in professional wrestling people go dark before. Look at The Undertaker. But how far are they willing to go with Bully Ray? He wasn't willing to set Anderson and Joseph Park on fire last week. But how far are they willing to go with this? Particularly when Anderson was told to go look in the coffin, and he pulls out a tuxedo and a wedding gown. What does this mean? It's obvious it's got to be his wife and it's got to be him. Maybe he's going to try and marry Anderson's wife. Maybe he's going to bury Anderson's wife. You don't know. So that's the reason why I'm saying how far are they willing to go with this dark angle. I want to see this. Now, just a few last things. One, what happened to Samuel Shaw? He had a good showing. I wish they would show him now again. Maybe a video segment would have been better. But they don't show Sam Shaw. I want to see what's going to happen with Christy Hemme. That's just my perception because I love that woman. That fiery redheaded woman, even if it is fake. And lastly, my feelings about this entire show. Now, if I forgot something, I'm sorry. I am kind of sick. But I have to give this show, because of the ending of the show, I'm going to give it a B. The reason I give it a B is this. We've been wanting a angle like the WWE did. Then we didn't get it. we got some stupid bullshit. In this respect, we didn't get a 100% great show, particularly when it comes to this match. It wasn't a perfect match with AJ and Magnus. It wasn't. But what we got was something that we really wanted. We wanted to see a rivalry like this. We wanted to see someone go off with the title who was kicked out, show it around the world, and then come back and really make us interested in the product. This product needs a lot of work. Now there's no more Hogan. There's no more Bischoff. Whoever is doing creative now, I don't know who it is. You guys can tell me below. But this year is very pivotal. I'll give it to you like this. If now with those guys gone, they got to recoup all that money. If they don't put out some good content, they're going to go under. So this could be the beginning of something very good this year. I'm really hoping. So I'm giving this a B. And I hope you enjoyed the Zane view, and subscribe and comment to my channel. Oh, I said it again. Damn it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I am really sick. I had to go out in negative 20 degrees a couple of days ago, and I have not been right yet. I've been sick. And I had a lot of things that's been going on. If my videos seem to be late lately, I'm very sorry. I had stated before that I have a lot of stuff going on. That was one of the reasons why I had to go out in such severe temperatures. Most of it has been settled, but to be honest, it's badly stressed me out. And I say I did have, and I still do to a point, depression. It's still a struggle for me to deal with my depression right now. If you guys have anything really kind to say and some encouragement, it would be warranted. I really would like it. So you guys have a good night, and you guys take care. And I can't wait to see Genesis.